What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another Contender Series breakdown here on the Vegas Odds YouTube channel. I'm your host, the fight analyst, Garrett Kerman, and with me, as always, is my man, Joe Danger himself, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
It is going good. It's almost Halloween time. The Halloween stores are popping up. I'm missing one of these, so I need one more. So I'm hunting, but outside of that, I'm breaking down fights. I'm happy to be here. Seems like I haven't seen you in a long time, so it's good to hang out.
I know, man. We had a week off, no UFC last weekend, so I'm looking forward to finally seeing some UFC on the TV. Tuesday night Contender Series. We had a little blip 2 weeks in a row. Unfortunately, ups and downs happen. We are 3-2 on our records as far as profitable winning nights throughout the season. We're up to week 6, which is headlined by a welterweight fight between Yusaku Kinoshita and Jose Henrique. But yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I think this is arguably the best week of Contender Series. They have the most UFC ready talent on this week, and it's gonna be an absolute banger, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, as I was doing tape, I can't disagree with you at all, because the more that I investigated, the more I was like, these guys could easily jump on, any Saturday card as like a opener or like a, second fight, or hell, even as crazy Dana has been lately, like a co-main event, maybe, as long as they're women, apparently. But yeah, I think that there's some interesting matchups here. I think that this is one of the closely contended cards. Like, there's a lot, even though last week there was a lot of fights that didn't go our way, but they shouldn't have went the other way.
Right, I agree. Yeah.
This one, I feel like a lot of them could really truly go either way. It just depends on who shows up.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully we don't see any type of fuckery as we saw last week, but we'll get right into that. So our first fight up is in the men's featherweight division between Alex Morgan and Blake Bilder. Right now, Morgan's a -210 favorite, and the comeback on Builder's +180. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I think the line is about right. I feel like this fight should be relatively easy for Morgan. Builder has a pretty horrible striking defense. Just in the little bit of tape that I did watch, he was either dropped or hurt in every single fight. My only worry is that Morgan can't avoid the takedowns coming from Builder, but if he does, he should be able to destroy him on the feet, as well as follow up when Builder eventually gets stung. Both these guys look super strong in the weigh-ins, and I think that this fight has fireworks written all over it. So I'm excited to see this one open the card.
Yeah, this is actually a great matchup. After digging deeper, I thought Morgan would be able to just kind of, run away with it. But the dude's relentless. He's super tough. He's someone that will definitely fight for your money. He got dropped, I think, 2 or 3 times in the first round in his last fight. Granted, not against a good opponent, but, it happens. But he was able to battle back. He took him down, controlled him, and then eventually he dropped him and finished him in the second round. He's got good boxing, but he leaves himself open for counters all day, just like he did in his last fight. And Morgan, on the other hand, he's a sharpshooter on the feet. He's very technical, good straight punches. Should be able to split the guard because Builder throws a lot of looping hooks, a lot of overhand rights. And then he'll just like to, get in the clinch and take you down and take your back. I mean, he's got some really good jiu-jitsu and some pretty good wrestling. He's pretty damn strong. But I think as the fight goes on, Builder will probably fade. Morgan, I think, is the bigger of the two. He's the stronger of the two. And I think Morgan possibly puts Builder away late in this fight.
Are you thinking KO?
Yeah, definitely TKO. I don't think he's going to want to go and try to submit him unless it's a club and sub type of situation. But I just think Morgan, also training out of the better team. He's faced some far better competition. He knocked out TJ Laramie twice. He's faced Charles Jourdain. Granted, didn't go his way. He fought Peter Pettis, which is a Contender Series alumni as well. Won that fight.
Who?
The Joker, Peter Pettis.
The guy with the Photoshop abs. That's my guy.
Alex Morgan's ready to be in the UFC, where I think Builder still has a little bit of time to grow. And then I definitely think next crack at it, he could probably make it into the UFC.
I agree with you on the KO. Obviously both these guys are 31, 32. I really feel like they're both going to be hungry, ready to fight. I just think, like you said, that Morgan is more of the complete package of the two.
Absolutely. Okay, next up, we got our next fight up in the women's strawweight division. In a fight between Maria Silva and Victoria Dudakova. Right now the line, -265 on Silva. Come back on Dudakova plus 225. Who do you got?
I watched some tape on this. These girls are good, like really good.
Yeah, they
Both
are.
ladies are solid. While whoever wins will most likely get signed on the spot, I think we see both of these girls in the UFC eventually. What is it, 23 and 26? Yeah, both young girls. Both have fought decent competition. Both look amazing on the ground. Dudakova is good, but I think we see Silva cracking the top 15 fairly quickly. I think she gets a sub late. I think that both are going to look good. I think Dudakova is probably going to end up coming back and getting signed then.
Yeah, this is a really good matchup against two really good prospects in the strawweight division. Silva already on the Contender Series last year, didn't get a contract. Still looked good there. She's coming back again. I think she's probably improved since then. She's absolutely huge for the division in terms of like her size and strength. She's super strong. She got good takedown defense, good submissions, and she can crack on the feet where I think she's got a massive power advantage over Dudakova. Dudakova, she's good in her own right. She's, solid with her striking. She's good inside the clinch, good trip takedowns, very good on top, good ground game, good submissions. But I don't think she's going to be strong enough to take Silva to the mat. And I think at distance, Silva should be able to, piece her up pretty badly and possibly get her out of there.
Yeah, I was really impressed with them at the weigh-ins. They both looked phenomenal. Like especially Silva, like her arms.
Yeah.
They put
she's jacked. I'm like, damn, that girl is big for 115. I'm like, how the hell does she even make 115?
Well, Dudakova came out first, and I was like, damn, she looks pretty buff too. And then like Silva walked in second. I'm like, holy shit! So it just I'm excited about this fight too. I think, like you said at the top of the hour, I think that this is like one of like the best Tuesday nights I think we've had in recent memory. Yeah,
all four fighters in the first two fights kind of make it into the UFC at some point in their careers. That's how good this entire card is. I think anybody on this card, I think except for possibly one, that could get into the UFC even without winning on this fight card. Moving on, our next fight up is in the lightweight division between Matus Rebecchi and Rodrigo Lydio. Right now the line is set at minus 230 for Rebecchi. The comeback on Lydio plus 195. Who do you got?
Yeah, so I already know who you're picking. While I think Rebecchi is a solid prospect, I think for the first time in a long time, I think his size is going to play a huge factor in this one. I think it's going to be a big disadvantage. Lydio has both the height and reach advantage, and while Rebecchi will look to get inside and land, Lydio should have more than enough opportunities to find the chin. He is my pick, but even if you are thinking about Rebecchi, he probably will wrestle this one out. We got 15 minutes for Lydio to find the chin. Here's the thing. Rebecchi does jab. He throws wild before looking for that takedown. He leaves himself open for almost every single time. I feel like Lydio is worth the stab at KO just because I feel like one of those times he might be able to find the counter.
I see what you're saying, and I totally understand the sentiment, but I think the records of Rebecchi's opponents is astronomical that you would ever see for someone who's 15-1 and not signed to the UFC. It's like 106 and 26 or something like that, facing killers like Magomedov and other Eastern European, Dagestani, Russian monsters.
That's all I saw. It was just like all these names that have like 8 syllables.
And this guy, he's an ADCC Polish world champion. He's a legit Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He has actually more knockouts than he does submissions at 8 knockouts and 5 submissions. So 13 of his 15 wins have come inside the distance. The dude's an absolute animal, possibly everywhere. I do see problems with the length. I do see problems with straight punches, knees up the middle, elbows, stuff in the clinch like that. It could happen. I totally understand the dangers of betting against Lydio because at any given moment he can knock you out with any limb, but he's at a massive disadvantage on the mat. And we know that Lydio has terrible takedown defense. It literally could be one takedown and the fight's over, essentially. That's how much better Rebecchi is than Lydio on the mat. I mean,
yeah, I agree, but it just seemed like every time like he would lead with those jabs, and then to
the counter to that, has he ever been rocked ever in his entire career?
I saw a couple people connect, but they weren't throwing hard enough to rock him. But
for a reason, because you kind of can't. Yeah, because he's diving in for a double leg when you're trying to put all your power in. So one overextend. When you overextend just once, he'll be in around your legs, and then you're on the floor, and he takes you back. So that's why it's hard for anybody, especially a guy who's long. He wants to extend on his punches. Well, what if he just overextends, which he probably will at some point, and then he's just gonna duck underneath, and he'll get to the body and take him down, and grab his back from there, and could be over just that quickly. Because I think there's levels above the grappling between these two. And I think Rebecchi's defensively sound enough to not get knocked out. So as long as he doesn't get knocked out, he wins a fight. That's literally it. Because he can compete on the feet. It's not like Lydio is just gonna run circles around him on the feet. He's not, because it's gonna be competitive. But Lydio does have the power advantage. As long as Rebecchi doesn't get rocked, that fight's all his. Like he's not losing a decision. And it comes to Lydio literally has to knock him out, which is feasible. So if you're thinking he's gonna do that, you bet the KO. Because he's not winning a decision. He's not winning by submission. So KO is the way to go there. But I think Rebecchi goes in there. I think it's a ground and pound TKO or a submission victory.
I guess maybe here's the thing. I might just be thinking about last week, and I was like, this has opportunity written all over it as far as that KO goes.
I mean, it can. But then again, that can be any fight.
Yeah, that's true. I watched more Rebecchi footage, I think, than anyone else, because he had a lot. I mean, that was another thing. I'm like, okay, because I know he's a prospect. I know that like every freaking write-up, it's like he's
arguably on paper the best prospect on the season.
Yeah,
like on paper. I mean,
why is he not in the UFC then already?
Why is there's so many more Eastern European fighters that aren't in the UFC?
Yeah, that's true.
That should be in the UFC. There's a ton of them.
Devil's advocate response.
I mean, because also you have to think they do it purposely because they have a big fan base.
That's true.
Big fan base. They watch him a Contender. Then you get the hardcores watching him, knowing about him, as well as his fan base, and they watch him grow to this superstardom. Instead of just slapping him in there, they watch his rise to being a legit contender instead of just signing him off the waiver wire where no one really knows who the hell he is. We know his background, we know where he's come from, and we see him rise through the rankings. And we've seen that happen with a ton of fighters. Jamal Hill, you name it, pretty much anybody from there. Even Chris Curtis.
Hill.
Chris Curtis from there. Yeah. Everybody started following him on social media, and he went through the growing pains of early retirement, and now look where he's at now, and everybody's followed him. Now he's in superstar.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people like that too. I mean, even some of the guys like Fluffy, the Big Mouth,
right?
O'Malley. That's a good point.
It's all about viewing. It's all about viewers. Putting this guy, just smack him in there on a fight night card, like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, and it would just kind of fade into the obscurity because of he's a weird name, weird dude, not from here,
right?
Just a random guy. Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. I guess I just needed someone handsome to articulate it for me to gather what I was asking.
That's what we're here for, man. We're here to talk this out, hash it out. Don't get me wrong, Lydio definitely is a good fighter and probably should be in the UFC. Even after this fight, he might get another shot and then get in there. He's got insane power and he can knock out anybody with one given shot. So would I be surprised if he gets knocked out? No, but I just think Rebecchi is just too good enough and too good defensively sound on the feet to get knocked out by this guy. That's all.
Yeah, I was a little, when you said that there's probably one guy on this card that won't make it to the UFC, I was like, it can't be Lydio. So
no, it's definitely not Lydio.
Okay, yeah,
we'll get there.
Well, I watched his tape and I was like, this guy's actually decent. And then when you said that, I was like, what are you talking about, Garrett?
This is not the guy. No, Lydio definitely is worthy to being in the UFC. I just think he's got a terrible stylistic matchup because he's got to knock him out, and he's not going to win on the scorecards because he's going against a relentless grappler, someone who is leaps and bounds better than him in that department. And granted, he trains at a jiu-jitsu gym, so you would think he'd be better. But our next fight up is in the middleweight division between Panas, I guess. Let's go Panas. And to come back on Cedric's Dumas plus 130. This is one of my favorite fights on the card as well. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Right now the line set at minus 150 on Panas, Dumas plus 130. Who do you got?
Dang, dude, that line has came a long way since the first time I looked at it because I think Dumas was plus 190 when I first broke down this fight. Yeah, I like the way he looks. He's just an interesting guy. Actually, both guys are kind of interesting looking. Like they have very interesting like facial features and facial structure. at the weigh-ins, it was just kind of like one of those things that you're just like drawn to the way that they carried themselves, just because they both look so confident. Because of them being so solid, I think both of these guys will be in the UFC. Same height, same weight, same record.
I don't even think they're the same height, to be honest.
Well, yeah, they're not. They're not, because Dumas is a little bit shorter.
Panas is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. That dude is massive.
He looks like a hidden character in Street Fighter. Seeing them next to each other kind of made sense as to why the line was the way it was, because just looking at the paper, you would assume this to be a pick'em. I just feel like Panas is a little bit better. But that being said, I feel like Dumas is definitely worth the stab. Inside the distance, again, I like Panas, but you never know, because both of these guys are proven finishers. I feel like, based on the homework that I did, Panas just seems a little more polished. But yeah, I feel like at this point it's a dog or pass. Inside the distance, though, one of them is going to find a finish.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good fight, because they're both really good kickboxers. They're both got like a ton of power. I do think Dumas has more MMA experience, which he does. He's got a very lengthy amateur background. I think he went like 10-1 or 11-1, something along those lines. And he's shown he can grapple. He's shown a little wrinkles in his game that Panas has not shown. He's got a good back take. He's got a good double leg. He can get it to the mat and really wear on Panas. If he could put the pace in and put the pressure, I think Dumas could possibly out cardio him late and put him away and just drown him with pace and pressure and grappling, and just making Panas work and not just be at kickboxing range, where Dumas still has power to knock him out. So I just think Dumas has more ways to win, and I think he gets the job done.
Should have took that plus 200, man.
I know I didn't want to be too bold here. Okay, sir. I'm trying to get things back in row over here.
Yeah, I don't know. Early on, it was back and forth. I just kind of settled. I still think he's worth the stab at plus 130. I don't even know what the prop odds are, but I do think he does find a finish.
Dumas by knockouts plus 350. Dumas by submission plus 600, and there's money coming in on it. So you look at that line movement, and then that's an indication. That's an indication that he might be taking this fight to the mat.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Dumas inside the distance is plus 200.
I feel like that's safe. I feel like that's the safer risk, I guess I should say. Because, I mean, the other guy's also a finisher too.
Yeah, no, both these guys, like I said, time and time again, deserve to be in the UFC. That's what makes for this week an insane week of Contender Series. So don't miss it at all.
Let's preface also too that these are just our picks. We are picking these guys to win. This is not an official play by any means. If you would like official plays, please reach out to us. But these are just picks. So use bankroll management, Google it, and come and talk to us outside of this.
Absolutely, because guys, we're here to try to make you money as best as we can. I can't say that I'm going to each and every week, but at least we try. We at least try to put money in your pockets. We try to give you rhyme or reason as to why we're picking who we're picking. We try to give you the best logical, synopsis and how this fight's gonna break down, and just so we can put some money in your pocket. So that's what we're here to do, and we're gonna keep it moving.
It makes the fight much more interesting too. So
absolutely, who doesn't like to have a few bucks on some fights while you're watching it? Makes that much better. All right, let's get to our featured bout on this card. It's in the welterweight division between Yusaku Kinoshita and Jose Henrique. Minus 200 for Kinoshita and Jose Henrique plus 170. Man, I can't with these names, man. It ain't that easy. Who do you got?
Kinoshita. Yeah, I guess you're not. Yeah, you're not Japanese. There's something about taping these Japanese prospects, man, that just get me so hyped. I love these old the intro packages, like the way that they say their names all like crazy, and then there's like the full screen graphics and the full screen text. It like Ryzen does it, and there's other foreign organizations that do it too, but it reminds me of the old Pride days, man. Like it just takes me back. So any opportunity I have to like tape someone like Kinoshita, I jump at it. Like it's fantastic. So anyway, I just want to get that out of the way. I really enjoy his style. He comes forward, he switches stances quite a bit. Henrique, he seems a lot less polished and hasn't faced any talent. Like it's so few and far between. And even when he was facing like guys that he should demolish, he looked uncomfortable. Like he just looked like he was either lost or like just unhappy. And I like you. How do you Yusaku? I like him in this one. He just seems like the more educated fighter. The more footage I watched, the more he just seemed competent. And I think we're gonna see that pretty early as well. I think he's just gonna look more polished. Now, the only thing that worries me is that Jose looked fucking massive, like at the weigh-ins. And here's the thing: I did watch tape on this guy. He has like 40 names, so I'm not even sure if we're like if this. I'm not even sure if the right guy is fighting. His height has fluctuated quite a bit. He went from like 5'10" to 6'3", and I'm wondering if it's like some interchangeable cousins. Like one of them's really good, and then one of them's really tall. So yeah, I something's weird about this fight. So I like Kinoshita by KO. He just seems like the more polished fighter based on the tape that I saw. I'm assuming that Jose is probably the guy that is not going to make it to the UFC, but maybe his shorter cousin will one day.
Anyway. Man, this is a weird one because Jose is only 19 years old and he's 6'5" and somehow making 170 pounds. I mean, dude is absolutely massive. Not shredded, he's just huge.
He's huge.
He's absolutely huge. And Yusaku he doesn't look that small. I mean, in terms of height, obviously it looks smaller, but in terms of actually his build, he's pretty good shape, 6 foot for 170 pounder. And he's young too. He's only 22 years old. 5-1, should be 6-0. His only loss is a no contest for holding onto the cage while he's curb stomping his opponent into the mat. It was the craziest thing you'll ever see. But yeah, I think this kid has I think he's got it factor. He comes forward, he's aggressive, he's got some good power, some decent grappling. And Jose, on the other hand, he's actually not pretty good at range, which is kind of odd for someone who's as tall as he is. He's not good at range. He's good in the clinch though. He's got some good elbows, some good knees.
That's it.
That's pretty much where it ends. And Yusaku he just looks like the package. He looks like someone who can make some waves in the UFC only at 5-1, where Jose, on the other hand, at 5-0, faced nobody and still look like he's an amateur out there. And granted, he's only 19 years old. He's got a ton of time, to get better. But I mean, I'm not sure why he's even on the show. Like, that's the one that should not be in the UFC.
Well, it's because he grew 5 inches in like 1 year. I was literally watching one fight.
He had his growth spurt.
Yeah, one fight he's tall as shit, and then another fight right before that he's like 5'8". So I'm like, there's some fuckery going here. And like I said, the guy has like 14 names. They're all hyphened. So some fights he has one name and some fights he has another name, and you'll do some research, man. Not you, but because I sent you the fights, but like it's weird. Like something's weird about it. And it's also weird when you're like I guess he's a man and you can like touch your knees. Like who can touch their knees without like doesn't even have to bend? Like it's like a damn action figure, like Gumby or some shit. If he doesn't have a nickname, call him El Gumbo.
I think he's Canelo. He's Canelo.
I get whatever. Like that's already a thing.
That's what we got for you guys this week on Contender Series Breakdown here on the Vegas Odds YouTube channel. We will be back as always every Tuesday breaking down some Contender Series fights.